on cities. Obviously, you know, it's probably much more about the economic and geopolitical aspects of what we are interested in. This other organization that I've been involved with, it was running for 12 years. It was so successful that actually the political establishment in Austria politely asked us to close it down forever. There's a little book out there, and you can see that our interest was actually also into practical interventions into the city. So, for instance, what you can see here in the middle a little bit is a central square in Vienna that overnight we declared that the city of Vienna made a deal with Nike company, and the place will from now on be called Nike-Platz instead of Karlsplatz, and a 36 meters monument of the Nike swoosh will be built in place. So overnight there was this, you know, info booth with Nike hostesses, and the whole thing was picked up by the media, and actually, you know, was one way to raise a debate of what is public space and, you know, who controls public space. So you see a few other elements of our work on practical interventions into the city. Here on the left, for instance, we had a installation which claimed that from now on there is a civil society organization which uses unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, to sort of surveil the police, basically, the executive forces in Austria. There was a fake statement from the EU that this is actually legal. State police was coming and was very interested. We claimed that this is a collaboration of NGOs with ex-Soviet military companies. You can also see a place where we had a 4-month squat in the middle of the center for a daily program of tactical media activities. So I will just switch there. Again, obviously this was not just about practical urban interventions, but always related to, you know, the question of how, again, immaterial and material forces are interacting also in physical, concrete social environment. One of the publications, it's actually also in French available. If you look for it on the web, it has been translated by Ewan Chadronnet, who is one of the curators of Future en Scène, who helped us actually bring this here. It shows 72 keys of you know, social control through tactical intelligence. This just coming up, and I'm sorry I don't have any copies with me, it's just brand new. It has a foreword from Brian Holmes, who will also join us on Sunday with the panel on mapping complexity. Just recently, or a couple of months ago, we did a conference on the question of search technologies. We were actually having someone who did a presentation just a few days earlier, Richard Rogers. What we're trying to look at is, you know, not Google really, but beyond Google, or even deeper than Google, in the sense of how these tools really shape not just the consumer level, you know, everybody uses Google, but actually also on the professional level of you know, state agencies or business intelligence agencies using profiling technology. So we were looking into histories, into the question of, again, human rights or liberties, a question of power and visibility. These cognitive technologies, you know, they always come in a seemingly neutral code, but in the end, they embed a political philosophy. And it's for us very interesting to see how sort of machine communication actually turns into meaning and the other way around. So we are here with World Information City, of course, and we will have 2 days of debate, and a long part of that is actually dedicated not just to frontal presentations, but to debate. And the 4 more core issues are understanding mobility. We have not just Carlo Ratti, but also John Urey. We have we're looking into the question of global flows and local places, and I couldn't think of someone more able to speak about it or more interesting than Saskia Sassen, and on the other hand, someone from Bangalore who actually, you know, is an expert and witness, lives in Bangalore, of how actually globalization, and Bangalore is this famous symbol, of course, of globalization, and the IT industry in particular is actually having an impact and ravaging parts of the city, in fact. Space conflict and security, obviously, you know, in the good old days, cities were characteristically configured through fortifications, through city walls and things like that. This has changed. We're sort of in the, you know, in the times after Baron Haussmann, in an age of the software city, where these kind of walls and control situations have become very more fluid and temporary. And last but not least, we're looking at questions of mapping complexity. And just maybe very shortly before I stop, you know, the whole issue of mapping or mapping power, or actually mapping is a power, a technology of representation of complex systems. And what we are interested here is the question of cultural spatialization. Obviously, space as a multidimensional product of use, experience, and understanding. So we have this word, what is called the hyperspace, and it's actually, you know, like hyperreal reality, a hybrid between the fictitious and the so-called real. And again, here we are interested in the question and relations of the symbolic and the material, or the inner and the outer, with the technologies related to that, what we would call space control. And again, there's this famous saying that the map is not the territory, but what is much more interesting is that the map actually shows a lot about the map maker. I mean, historically, we all know that if you look at old maps, Europe is always in the center. So you know where the map comes from. In China, they actually called themselves the land of the middle. You know, power is always in the middle of the map. And Robert Darnton, who actually writes also for this book on deep search technology, he says that all social action flows through boundaries determined by classification schemes. So here we have a connection maybe between the theme of search technology and cities. And maybe I just, you know, close with an obscure statement from El Iblis Shah saying that the map, in fact, is the territory.